Hello, it's your resident liker of games, Luke here. I thought I'd start a new series. We're going to call it Five Faves, is what we're going to call it. And today we're doing PlayStation 2. So PlayStation 2 is quite important to me because I started collecting on PlayStation 2. That's where all this started. So it's also kind of where I fell in love with video games, I think. Before PlayStation 2, I had a Nintendo 64. And sure, Zelda and Mario 64 are some of the best games ever released. But PlayStation 2 was really when I fell in love with gaming and collecting. So I've chosen 5 of my favorite games on the PlayStation 2. See if you can relate. Let's go through them one by one. First up is Square Enix's masterpiece, Dragon Quest VIII, Journey of the Cursed King. Not called Dragon Quest VIII here, just called Dragon Quest Journey of the Cursed King in Australia. This game is brilliant. It is so big, so large. This was my first Dragon Quest game as well. I know a lot of you guys probably like retro gamers and such and have been collecting for a while and playing all the old ones, but for me, this is where my love for Dragon Quest started. So the game is this fantastic fantasy adventure, beautiful, beautiful art style. You play as Hero, well, whoever you name him as. I always name him Hero, I don't know. And he is out to basically save the world. A curse has been put on the king, his king.
I do hope you're not referring to me.
And he's out to help him out and figure out who and why and what and where and how. And that's the basic premise, really. It's all turn-based battles, so think of Pokemon, kind of like that. Put in an input, wait your turn, and that's it. And the encounters are random as well, which I know a lot of people can dislike. It's quite an outdated game design feature now. It's not one that you see anymore because people don't like it. So I understand that could turn people off, but thankfully they have actually re-released this on Nintendo 3DS and taken out the random encounters as well. So all the enemies are on your map as you can see them, and you can decide if you want to go after them or not. But apart from that, I mean, this game's huge. It took me, I take my time with games, but this took me 70 hours to beat. And I put another 40 hours on afterwards, and I still didn't beat like the big final extra optional bosses either. It's massive, and I highly recommend it. As I said, it made me fall in love with Dragon Quest. It made me fall in love with JRPGs as well. Like, this was one of the biggest first ones for me, so yeah, it's a winner. I recommend it. Let's move on. So the next one I have is Final Fantasy XII. This game is, again, massive. It took me 110 hours to roll the credits. Again, I take my time and I enjoy it, but that's how long it took me. I can't, honestly, it's been so long since I played these games, I can't remember much of the storyline. It's all this big political convoluted mess, to be honest, but the gameplay is fantastic. It's kind of like this weird hybrid mix of MMO elements into real-time battles. So it was quite controversial at the time it came out because Final Fantasy had traditionally been turn-based, like Dragon Quest, but that was dropped on this game and a lot of people were put off by it. But honestly, it's really well done, it's really well developed, and it's probably the best, or one of the best looking games on the PlayStation 2. It looks incredible. So if you haven't given this a go, again, I highly recommend it. The HD remasters just come out on PlayStation 4. Like, half these games have got HD remasters since. I guess it's sort of testament to how good they are and how much demand there is. So get on it. Final Fantasy XII, highly recommend. And there's no laughing scene from Titus, which is great. Okay, next we have Okami. Okami is a masterpiece. It is basically Zelda on PlayStation 2 with this beautiful, beautiful brushstroke art style. Very traditional Japanese looking. So you play as Amaterasu. I don't know if I'm saying that right. You play as this giant white wolf, a god in Japan, and he has basically come down to save the day. There is evil lurking and we gotta beat him up. So it's very Zelda-esque as far as game design goes. And on top of that, the unique feature that the game has is the Celestial Brush. So you can pause the game at any time and then draw on your screen whatever you want to draw. And different drawing patterns do different things in the game. So like you can summon bombs out of nowhere, you can cut things just by pausing and drawing like a slice across the screen, cut. It's brilliant. And again, it's been re-released multiple times. It is out on Wii, so you can use your Wiimote to do those little drawing bits. Also, PlayStation 3 has a HD port, digital only, unless you're in Japan. And it's going to be coming to PlayStation 4 as well, so keep an eye out for that. Alright, next up, Shadow of the Colossus. A lot of you will be very familiar with this game. I've met many people that have never ever heard of it though, which is a damn shame. It is about a boy and his horse and 16 giant monsters, I guess. They're Colossus. It's what they are. And your job as this boy is to run around and beat them all one by one. So the game is basically just boss battle after boss battle after boss battle. That's literally all there is, and just running around on your horse in between. The only enemies in the game are these big giant bosses, and that's it. And each one is so memorable. They're all so unique in design. The way you've got to get onto them, the way you've got to beat them. It's just brilliant. It's just absolutely brilliant. And I tell you what, the ending will pull on the old heartstrings. I'm not a crier, but I was very close at the end of this. It's tough. Just a heads up, if you're familiar with a game called Ico, also on the PlayStation 2, and a game called The Last Guardian on the PlayStation 4, it's the same development team. This was the second in the trilogy there, so I highly recommend it. It's really, really good. And again, it's been re-released. It's on PlayStation 3. I'm not sure if it came out on PS4, but it's definitely on PlayStation 3 as a HD remaster. So get on it if you haven't. Shadow of the Colossus. My final pick, We Love Katamari. This is a very strange game. You play as the prince. He is an alien from another planet, and he's come down to Earth. He's been sent by the king of all cosmos, and he's been sent down to Earth to roll these balls up, make them bigger and bigger and bigger, and turn them into planets. That's a quick briefing on, I guess, the premise of these games. They're all pretty much the same, but they're all just so addictive and so ridiculous, and each level has different challenges imposed. Some you start quite small, some you start quite big. The last level you start rolling, you know, chairs and tables, and then you get bigger and bigger, and then you're rolling up people, and then cars, and then houses, and islands, whales. You get bigger and bigger and bigger, you're rolling up continents. It's just absolutely insane. Like, one of the craziest 20 minutes of my life has been in this damn game right here. We Love Katamari. This was my first Katamari game as well, and it blew my mind. The opening scenes for these games are so weird and so wonderful and so hilarious. The music is fantastic. Just super quirky, Japanese, weird. I adore it. If you're into unique games, like nothing you've ever played before, try Katamari. Again, the series spans like a bajillion consoles, starting from PlayStation 2. This is the second in the series. If you've never tried a Katamari game, I'd suggest that you at least try one. It's such a strange series, but I love it. I love it so dearly. So there you have it. There's 5 picks from the PlayStation 2 collection. 5 of my all-time favorites on the console. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you agree with any of these, if there's any you haven't tried out or have tried out, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Let's get a chat going. I'll be replying to as many comments as I possibly can. And let me know what you would choose as 5 of your favorites on the console. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye!